Good morning, everyone. It is good to see and a joy and a blessing to be with you all. My name is Richard Maraj. I'm the senior minister here at Unity of Phoenix, and today is a great day. We start the 4-week series of our Songs of Life. Today we're doing Ooh Child, and another great thing on campus. For the last 3 days, we have had the South Regional YOU, the Teen Winter Retreat here. 70 kids on campus from Vegas, all over California and Arizona. I went to the banquet last night, and what an amazing experience. They're going to come in at the end of the service and tell us about their weekend, and they're also going to do a blessing to us as a congregation. So some great things happening, so welcome, everybody. Great to see you.
And my name is 70.
70, yeah, man.
Trying to wrap my head around that. I had 2 in this house at one time, and I'm thinking, wow, will I survive this? Anyway, my name is Jimmy Scott. I'm pastoral care minister at Unity of Phoenix. My pleasure to be here.
All right. So today we have 2 intentions, and the first one is that you have a profound and meaningful experience of God. So we hope that whatever is going on in your life, whatever is challenging you, whatever is worrying you, that we hope that today's service will help you set that aside and open your heart to go a little deeper, to be touched and ministered to and transformed, and have God open your life to an even fuller and richer experience. So everyone, just take a deep breath. As best as you can, just let go of whatever is concerning you and open yourself to be moved in a profound and meaningful way. And the second one is we want you to feel a great sense of connection and community. The truth is we are all one. You know, when Jesus said, where 2 or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them, what he was saying is when we come together and join together in faith, join together with our intention and desire, we really multiply and magnify the presence and the power of Spirit. So every person in this room, whether you've been here for the first time or been here for years, you and we all together are creating this experience together. It's not just the ministers of music. It's all of us created together. We all create together, and we are all blessed by it together. So please know, we're so glad you're here today, and your presence makes a difference. So turn to the person to your left and right, look at me in the eye and say, what did I just say? Right. I'm glad you're here today, and your presence makes a difference. Okay? Don't forget, look him in the eye and say it. All right. Jimmy, I'm glad you're here. Oh, my God. I had a senior moment.
It happens to the best of us, hey, brother?
Yeah. Okay, that was called a senior moment. So let's, I did it on purpose in honor of Jimmy.
You haven't seen anything yet.
I'm sorry, man.
So let's start our service off together with our mission statement. Together,
Unity of Phoenix is a loving spiritual community that welcomes all people and honors all paths to God. We are dedicated to transforming lives by inspiring and awakening individuals to discover God's Spirit within them.
And now if you will rise and join us in our opening song.
Woo.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you.
So while you're still standing, why don't you turn to someone to your right or to your left and say good morning?
Jessica.
Today we celebrate Richard's 10th anniversary in this ministry. So,
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you very much. Thanks.
so we're going to be celebrating with a little ice cream social out in the courtyard following today's lesson. And if it's still not ice cream, it will be ice cream soup. But either way, it'll be tasty. And I also want to call your attention to the flowers here on the podium. They were given today in honor of Richard's 10th anniversary by the Board of Trustees. So thank you very much for these beautiful flowers. And just want to invite you to sit back and relax for a few moments. And we've got a little trip down memory lane for you via video.
You are so wonderful. Being near you is all that I'm living for. You've shown me more kindness in little ways than I've ever known in all my days. Tell me we'll stay together, let me love you forever, 'cause you're a wonderful one, you're a wonderful one.
On April 17, 2005, Reverend Richard Maraj joined Unity of Phoenix as Associate Minister of Adult Education and became Lead Minister in July 2006. Richard took over and got right to work. Under his leadership, we continued big community projects like Palomino, Feed the Multitudes, and fully sponsored 2 homes for Habitat for Humanity. His sermons, though, with a generous serving of humor, that's how the spiritual message rings home and true every week. Richard has done a great many services and made spiritual series like Songs of Life and Spirituality in Everyday Life his own. He showed us how things like hair, skydiving, knitting, playing guitar, and singing is spiritual.
Sing a song. I made 2 scarves, and this one I just finished this week. I made this scarf all by myself.
Okay, well, that was it.
In the light of prayer, remember that love.
You got to remember the love. You know that love is a gift from up above. Share love, give love, spread love. Measure your life in love.
Seasons of love. Seasons of
Measure your life in love.
Richard, it's been a pleasure to serve on the board with you. We respect and appreciate a decade of service that you have given this Unity community.
Richard, congratulations on 10 years. Unity of Phoenix is very much my home, and you are the main factor in that. Congrats.
Congratulations, Reverend Richard, on an amazing decade. You're the best. We love you.
Richard Maraj, congratulations on your 10th anniversary at Unity of Phoenix. Doesn't seem like it's been 10 years. So I hope you continue with your wonderful visions and that you've accomplished what you wanted to in 10 years. So, my friend, namaste.
Hey Richard, Mike Jesperger here. Congratulations on 10 years. Michelle and I are so happy to be part of this ministry and so proud of you and your humble leadership throughout that 10 years.
Richard, can't believe it's been 10 years. You've been such a blessing in our lives. We're so thankful for you. Congratulations.
I just would love to honor Richard
Maraj, as his 10th anniversary is approaching, I was fortunate enough to see him introduced on stage the very first time 10 years ago. And I wasn't even a member of Unity then. I came with a friend of mine, but I was so impressed. I just had such a feeling about this church. So thank you, Richard, for being my spiritual mentor, and congratulations on 10 years.
You're a wonderful one. You're a wonderful one. Oh, you're a wonderful one. Baby, you're a wonderful one. A wonderful baby. Wonderful one. Ooh, you're a wonderful one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Unity of Phoenix Senior Minister, Reverend Richard Maraj.
Good morning, everyone. Wasn't that great? Love that video. I'm Lisa Lombard, and I've had the privilege of serving as your board president. I'm going into my second year, prior to that as board treasurer. And in that position, it's given me the unique opportunity to see a little bit behind the scenes. And what you see on Sunday morning, the half hour you see of Reverend Richard, is just the tip of the iceberg. The hours that he puts in are phenomenal, and I do humbly apologize for the time that we kept you till 11 o'clock at night at a board meeting. There is so much going on at Unity, and so many things that our lead minister is involved in. Everything from the finances, excuse me, to construction, to building maintenance, and he has to have a working knowledge of all of these things. And we are so blessed that he has a very broad depth of experience and intensive education on spiritual and other matters. And I'm sure Reverend Jimmy can tell you the character that it takes in order to fulfill a job like this is pretty incredible. And some of the things that come to mind for me are his particularly, Jesus talks in the Bible about how you have to become as a little child and have that kind of faith. And so our leader has not only that little, the faith of a little child, but also wisdom beyond his years, also the enthusiasm of a teenager to go out there and do what's best for the church, what's best for the congregation, thinking outside the box, and then tempering that with a fiduciary responsibility to the congregation as well. And so we are very privileged and very honored to have this kind of leadership in our organization. And I'm sure you all will want to stop by afterwards and congratulate him. Now, it's very interesting to have all those characteristics. Now try to capture them all in a portrait. Thank you to the dedication and persistence of Reverend Maraj, who had the patience to sit through and actually stand through 2 photographic sessions, and of Robin Wilson, our operations director, who actually had made sure that the electronic photos came out into a portrait. How many of you have been to the administrative building and seen the staircase and the photos going up the staircase? How many of you have done that? Okay, cool. There's a bunch of you that haven't done it yet. So after it gets hung up there, go ahead and look up there and you'll see all of the leaders that we've had here, their portraits are up there as well. After the service, this will be out in the courtyard for you to look at. So Reverend Jimmy, would you be so kind as to help me do the unveiling here? So thank you all, and don't forget the ice cream social afterward. But save strawberries for Reverend Richard, please. Thank you.
So, all right. Wow. So first of all, did you see how black my hair was when I started working here? So, but I just want to say I am so grateful, so thankful, and so honored to serve as a senior minister of this church. This job is one of the greatest blessings of my life. And even on my worst days, and there's some challenging days in this job as there are in anybody's job in any area, there is no other place I'd rather be. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing, and there's no other group I'd rather be doing it with. I am so blessed. My life is so enriched by the amazing people I've gotten to work with and being a part of this great community. The first person I just want to acknowledge is Reverend Richard Rogers, because he's the one who brought me here. He is the one who hired me, and he's the one who built this ministry. And I am forever in his debt for that honor and that privilege of getting to come here. And when I invited him to come back to work here 2 years ago, I'm telling you, I'm so happy I'm like a kid in a candy store. Another person is Reverend Jimmy Scott. He is a joy and a light in my life that is so easy to work with. I tell you, he is the man. He is the man. And so I could go on and on about the past staff members and current staff members and our past board members and current board members. They've all been a light in my life and all been a blessing. All have taught me and helped me to become better at what I do. There's an amazing feeling that I really can't express into words. To stand up here before 5, 6, 7, 1,000, a lot of people, that every single week I feel my heart connected to all of you. It is amazing to stand and feel a sense of oneness and a love for an entire group and a community of people, even when you don't know them all. Even though I'm the one that's speaking on Sunday during the talk, I feel your love, I feel your energy, and it is one of the most amazing feelings of my entire life to feel that sense of connection and that oneness. We have done some great things over the last 10 years, and baby, we are just getting started. That there's a lot more gas in the tank, and there are greater things we're going to do. There are 19.5 acres here, and I hope that the vision of completing it all in the next year or two, or at some point, I would love to be more a part of that, because I just think Unity has such a great life-changing message. Such a powerful message to heal, uplift, and empower and affirm the Spirit of God in each of us, that we have got great things to do. We've done great things, and even greater things are still to come. So thank you for the privilege and honor of having me be your senior minister. I don't know how many more years left, but every minute of it, I'm going to enjoy all of it. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Jimmy Scott, we love you, man.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it.
So now's that time in our service for a time of prayer and meditation. So if you have your cell phones with you, I want to encourage you to either place those on silence or vibrate, and Kirsten will lead us in our meditational song. So take a deep, refreshing breath. Just get comfortable in your seat. Let go of any tension or any tightness in your body. For the next few moments, just allow yourself to relax and to get quiet. And more importantly, you get open and receptive to that divine spirit that dwells within you and that lives and has its being all around you. In the quietness and the privacy of your own being, you can begin to experience an energy that is regenerating and reinvigorating your entire physical and mental and emotional being, if you are willing to allow it to do so. If you're willing to temporarily set aside all of the busyness and all of the activities of your life and your experiences and of this world. And if you're willing to shut out all of the outer distractions, and for just a few moments be at one with all that is and all that will ever be. It is then that you can begin to experience the fullness of God's presence and God's power. So once again, I want to invite you to take a deep, refreshing breath and to quiet your mind. And for the next few moments, just rest in the stillness. 3 of the most powerful words in the entire book of Psalms are simply peace, be still. The transformative reality of those words gives us the power to find our true source and to link to it in a way that defies all human imagination. It is a mystical process. Blessed are we. And so it is. Amen.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory
Morning again, everyone. And a shout out to everybody who tunes in and watches us online. Special shout out to Rachel, who watches us in Michigan. She goes to the Unity Church in Lake Orion. They don't have a minister, and so they play our Sunday lessons as their minister. So thanks, guys. Really love you. Appreciate it. All right. So how many people here have ever struggled or had a really difficult time in some area of your life? Anybody ever have that? And how many people have ever had a number of things not go your way, go wrong for a long time to the point that you wondered if it would ever get better? Anybody? And how many people have ever felt or agreed with the statement that life is hard? Anybody ever felt that at times? The fact is, every one of us has some problems. Every one of us goes through difficulties and challenges. Every one of us has the areas in our lives that we sometimes struggle with. And sometimes we might struggle with our weight, or we struggle with our relationships, or maybe we struggle with our finances, or struggle with our health. Maybe we struggle with an addiction. Maybe we struggle with the trauma from childhood abuse. Maybe we struggle letting go of the past. Maybe sometimes we struggle forgiving ourselves. Maybe sometimes we struggle with heartache or grief over the loss of a loved one or loss of something in our lives. Maybe we struggle with loneliness. Maybe we struggle, with guilt or shame. Maybe we struggle with not being able to find our purpose in life, or struggle, feeling lost and confused and disconnected spiritually. The fact is, sometimes life is hard. And sometimes it can be so overwhelming and frustrating, and sometimes it feels like we just can't catch a break. Kind of reminds me of this guy who was driving across country. And he was going to visit his girlfriend at a university across country. He drove all night, and early in the morning, he's still far away. So he decides maybe he should just find a quiet little park where he could sleep for an hour or two and then get back on the road to go visit her. And as luck would have it, the quiet place he chose happened to be one of the most, unbeknownst to him, one of the most major jogging routes in the town. And no sooner had he settled into just snoozing and falling asleep than there was a knock on his window, and one of the joggers came up and said, excuse me, sir, do you know the time? And the guy looked at the clock on his car, and he said, well, it's 8:15. And then the jogger thanked him and took off. And then the guy again settled back in and was just dozing off again. And another knock, and one of the joggers says, sir, excuse me, do you have the time? And he said, yeah, it's 8:25. And the jogger thanked him, and he left. And the guy's noticing there are a lot of joggers, and it probably won't be much longer before another one comes. So he said to avoid the problem, what he does is he takes a pen and paper, and he writes on a sign, I do not know the time, exclamation point. And so he settles back in. He's just about to sleep again, just dozing off. Another knock on the window, and somebody says, sir, it's 8:45. And so... See, sometimes you can't win. Sometimes things just don't go our way. So how many people here have some area in your life that you would like to be a little bit easier? Anybody? How many have some area in your life you'd like to be a little bit brighter? Here's the deeper question, though. What do you think it would take, or what would need to change, or what would need to happen for things in your life to be a little easier? What do you think would need to happen for that area in your life to be a little bit brighter? What would it take? This morning, we begin a four-week annual series called The Songs of Life, because I think music has an amazing way to touch us, to open our hearts, to uplift us, and inspire us like nothing else. As a kid, I grew up in a family of 10, and everybody played all kinds of different music, from the Beatles to Indian sitar music, Mantovani. I heard everything. I love music. Clearly, by the video, I have no musical talent, not vocally or instrumentally, I have none. But I love music. And I think music and songs can show us, teach us, uplift us, and show us how to live a greater and better life. This song we're going to celebrate today is a 1970 hit. Ooh Child, first performed by the Five Stair Steps. They were like the precursor to the Jackson Five. They were kids from six brothers and sisters from the Burke family. A one-hit wonder, song written by Stan Vincent. And it's a 45-year-old song, but about 2 months ago, I was watching this American Family Insurance commercial, and they sang this song, and I thought, we are doing that song. Don't you just love that song? I think we all love that song. You know why we love that song? Because every one of us can relate to it. Because the fact is, every one of us goes through some tough stuff. Every one of us has a hard time, and every one of us wishes some area in our life was a little bit easier. We all have an area in our life that we wish was a little bit brighter. Because the fact is, every one of us is on a journey called life. And we are here on a journey to grow and unfold. There are things we are here to heal. There are things we are here to let go. There are things we are here to discover and learn. There are things that we are here to develop. There are gifts that we are here to share. There are areas we are here to open up to in a fuller way. There are differences we are here to make. There's achievements we are here to accomplish. And all of that experience stretches us, challenges us, tests us, and causes us to do some deeper work than sometimes we are willing to do. And the fact is, sometimes that stuff is not easy. And the reason we resonate with this song, because it connects with a spirit in us, it connects with a power in us that I believe is the greatest spiritual attribute and the absolute foundation of what makes life and progress and transformation possible. And to me, what this song connects with us is a spirit of hope. This is a song of hope. And sometimes you don't think that hope is that powerful, but hope is powerful. Hope is the thing that creates optimism. Hope is the thing that is the foundation of all dreams, of all possibilities. Hope is the thing that gives us excitement and enthusiasm. This song awakens a spirit of hope in all of us. And we all need that, and we all want that. And how important is hope? Listen to what Martin Luther King said about hope. He said, if you lose hope, somehow you lose the vitality that keeps life moving. You lose the courage to be. You lose the quality that helps you to go on in spite of it all. I think many of us misunderstand and underutilize and estimate the power of hope in our lives. I got to tell you, to me, I always thought that hope was the smaller, weaker version of faith. Faith gets a lot of press in the Bible. It was done unto you according to your faith. Your faith has made you whole. Nowhere does it say it was done unto you according to your hope. It is your hope that made you whole. No, it doesn't say that at all. So to me, I always thought that hope was the little brother of faith. It would be like Peyton Manning would be faith and Eli would be hope. Or perhaps a better analogy would be hope would be like an acorn and faith would be like an oak tree. Hope would be like a tricycle, and faith would be like a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. This is the kind of thing that I thought. That hope is a weaker version, but here's what it says in Scripture. It says, faith is the conviction of things hoped for. Faith is the conviction of things hoped for. So clearly, hope is the beginning of activating the fullness of faith. Does that make sense, everyone? Hope is a spirit or a desire in us for something greater. And hope is that belief that it's possible for something better than what I'm currently experiencing. Hope is the activating force that triggers the fullness of our faith. Ooh, child resonates with us because it resonates with that spirit of hope that we sometimes lie dormant and allow to go dormant in us. Anybody ever felt like you lost your hope? Anybody? Okay, about 4 of us, that's good. And at least some of us have, okay? And the truth is, we can never actually lose hope. What happens is we disconnect from it. We just become unaware of it. Because the truth is, hope is that belief and a desire for something greater and a belief that it's possible. And the fact is, we are created in the image and likeness of God. We are created in the image and likeness of the power out of which that not only creates all, but makes all possible. That spirit that makes all things possible and creates is what we're made of. That spirit of hope and greater possibilities exists in all of us, but sometimes we're disconnected with it. That hope is in us. It dwells in us. It is who we are. That's why it says the kingdom of God is within you. The hope of God, the possibilities of God, the love of God is in you. That's why it says Christ in you is your hope of glory. It is the hope of greater possibilities and greater goodness. You look at anything and in everything in the Bible, it is about the hope of something greater. It is the hope of a greater promise, of a better life, of greater joy, greater fulfillment and happiness. That hope lives and dwells in all of us. And I love what Peter says in 1 Peter. He said that God has given you hope, but make sure you use that hope fully. He says use that hope fully. He doesn't say use that hope partially, sparingly, periodically, occasionally, cautiously, tentatively. He says, use that hope fully. There is a spirit of hope in each and every one of us. My question for you is how fully are you using that hope in your life? How fully are you bringing it to life? Peter not only talks about to hope fully, but he says, use a living hope. A hope that's alive. A hope that's fertile, that's productive. How much are you using the power of hope in your life? I love what it says in Psalm 71. It says, I will hope continually. I will hope continually. and praise the name of God. It says to rejoice in hope. And I love what it says in the book of Jeremiah. It says, "For surely I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." This morning we're going to look at this song, "O Child," because it is a song of hope. And I want to look at the spirit and the power of hope and how we can cultivate it, because it is through hope that life becomes a little bit easier and life becomes a little bit brighter. First thing that I love that it says that life will become easier when your head is much lighter. That life will become easier when your head is much lighter. Anybody ever have your head so crowded with thoughts that you couldn't focus or concentrate well? Anybody? Anybody been so obsessed and you couldn't get something out of your head to the point you couldn't even fall asleep? Anybody ever have one of those? You know, we have had the weight of stuff on our minds, and that's what makes life hard. Is when you can't stop thinking of the negativity and the problem, and you're focusing and you're obsessing. The mind is so crowded. That's what makes it harder. And making your head lighter is what makes it easier. I will tell you the number one spiritual practice that separates the great spiritual masters from every one of us, and the spirit of hope is in all of us, but the thing that separates and has us go deeper and that separates the great masters, you know what that skill is? Okay, I'd like to tell you what it is then. Here's what it is. It's the ability to quiet the mind. It is the most difficult of all spiritual practices for most human beings. We say things, I can't control my mind. I'm trying to meditate, and I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of that. And it's quieting, the consistent practice of quieting the mind is the most difficult and the most powerful of all. To let go of the worry, to set aside the concern, and just to rest in God, to rest in the stillness and the quietness. Listen to the words in the book of, in Psalm 62. It says this. It says, "Yes, my soul, find rest in God, for my hope comes from him." And so my question for you is, how good are you, even with all the problems going on, to set it aside, to quiet your mind, to lighten your head a little bit, and to just be still and know the quietness and the presence of God? And this isn't just a spiritual thing, although it is. We'll get back to it. Neuroscience, you know what it says? It says that the productivity and the creativity of the brain becomes more effective when there are periodic breaks and moments of quietness from stopping thinking so much. And studies show that the quiet mind is the mind that has the greatest insights and the greatest breakthroughs. To quiet the mind opens a space for the inspiration, the wisdom, and the peace of God to come through. Here's a cute little story. This man hires a carpenter to restore his old farmhouse. And on the very first day, on the way to the job, the worker's car breaks down and he has to change his tire, and he misses an hour of work. Then his electric saw quit and broke, and it caused him to have to buy a new one. And then on the way home, just before he went home, his car wouldn't start and broke down, and it wouldn't work at all, and it was dead. And the boss had to give him a ride to his house. And as they drove, this guy was just stone cold quiet. And then when they arrived to the house, the worker invited the boss. He said, "Would you like to come meet my family?" And as they're walking into the house, there's a tree there, and this worker goes and touches the leaves several times, just quietly, touches the leaves with both of his hands. And then he walks into the house and suddenly is transformed. He's smiling, he's loving up his kids, he's loving up his wife, he's welcoming this guy, they have a nice visit. And then on the way out, he's walking the boss back to his car. And the boss said, "Hey, can you tell me what that thing you did with the tree was all about?" And then the guy said, "Oh, well, that's my trouble tree." He said, "I know I can't help having problems on the job, but one thing's for sure, the troubles don't belong in my house, and I don't have to share them with my wife and my kids. So what I do is I hang them on the tree every night before I go into the house. And then in the morning, I pick them up again." And and he said, "But the funny thing is, when I go to get them back in the morning, somehow they're not as many, and they're not quite as big as the night before." And it might sound silly, but how good are you at leaving your troubles and your worries for a while and just being fully present or fully quiet and connecting to God and to your family? It doesn't always get rid of our problems, but it's an important practice to be able to set them aside even for a little while and to just enter the quietness. Jesus said, go into your inner chamber and close the door. And what he's saying is close the door on those problems that are going on. They'll still be there, but enter into that secret place of the Most High and connect with me. Be still and know that I am God. Quiet the mind to renew it, to reconnect it and rejuvenate it and open it, not only to peace, but to greater insights. What can make your life easier is the power of hope, and especially the ability to take time to quiet your mind and set aside, all your cares. Would you be willing, just for 1 minute, 3 or 4 times a day, to take a deep breath and to set aside your challenges and just enter the quietness and experience the peace of God that surpasses all human understanding? Another thing I love about this song is it keeps hitting the word someday. Someday we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday we'll walk in the rays of a beautiful sun. Someday, when the world gets brighter, it's someday. And there's a message there, because it's saying one of the things that's important for us is no matter what's going on, is would you, instead of worrying about it now, would you invest on seeing something greater in the future? God has given us the ability to use our imagination to see greater possibilities beyond what is here, right here and now. And by looking up and seeing greater things, you know what we're doing? We're actually opening channels and pathways to create even greater things in our lives. Instead of just worrying about what's now, think about how could it be a little bit better. One of my favorite scriptures in Genesis 13, verse 14, we use it in the prosperity class. God is talking to Abraham, and he says, "From where you stand now, Abraham, look as far as you can see to the south and the north and the east and the west. And as far as you can see from where you are now, I will give to you and your offspring forever." And God is saying to you, in your life right now, even in the midst of what's going on that isn't working, how far can you see for the possibilities in your life? How much success can you see? How much healing can you see? How much harmony can you see? How much happiness can you see? How much greatness can you see? Right here. How far can you see? That, one of the things I think that's so powerful is that being able to use your imagination to see something great is an extension of the power of hope. Because if you didn't have hope, you wouldn't be imagining something greater in the future. And it is a powerful, powerful gift. George Bernard Shaw put it this way. He said, "Some people look at life as it is and ask why. And some people look at life as it could be and ask why not." So why not look at your someday? Why not think of ideas and open possibilities for success and harmony and joy and greatness and answered prayer and healing and harmony in your family? Why not? So last week, I wasn't here because I went up to Edmonton to hear my brother Brian, surprise him. He was chosen out of 120 professors, voted number 1, to deliver what they call the last lecture. Anybody ever saw The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch? Anybody? His last lecture, which was his last lecture because he was dying of pancreatic cancer, was a message of, if it were your last lecture, what would you say to your kids, your family, your students? So now some universities do an honorary thing, and my brother was voted 120 out of 120 professors to actually do it. So I went up to see him, and I was just so proud. It was beautiful to see him in his element. Some of his 6 children never actually saw him lecture. I'd never seen him lecture. It was a great experience. But in his talk, he shared that in 1992, he was a track and field coach for university, McMaster University, and he had 3 children and his wife, who was a stay-at-home mom. And for the first time in his career, he actually got a job that had benefits and retirement. And he was secure for the first time in his life with his 3 kids and his wife. And he said for the first time, not only with retirement benefits and a permanent job, but the first time in his adult life, he was able to afford cable. It was a big deal for my brother. And it was, but anyway, so he's a track coach there, and he starts thinking about, well, someday, what's going to happen? Someday, what's my future going to be like? Because track and field coaches in Canada don't really have a big financial future, and it's not really a big thing. And so, coincidentally, the 3 leading world researchers in motor development and skill acquisition, motor learning, were at the same university. And he thought to himself, wow, someday I could possibly be one of those leading people. And so what my brother ended up doing was quitting his job, giving up cable, and because something in him thought something is greater down the road. And he pursued his PhD. And he taught little tutorials and stuff, and they were able to just make it. They weren't making lots of money. He didn't have retirement or benefits, but he worked hard, and he got there. And then when he was finished, he couldn't get a job in Canada. So he had to go to the U.S. He went to the University of Colorado, and he got a job, but it was not a tenure track position. And then he went to LSU, and he worked there in Baton Rouge for a while, but that didn't kind of resonate with the family. And then finally, University of Alberta ended up hiring him. And over time, and he started out with a small salary. Over time, he was chosen as the #1 professor in his department. 2 years ago, he became dean, the academic dean at the St. Joseph's College. Right now, he's the acting president at St. Joseph's College, and he's also a professor at University of Alberta. And I will tell you, not just because I'm really proud of my brother, but what I really love about this was here is somebody who is very comfortable in a situation and decided to look with his eyes at the future, the possibility. And now, I'll tell you, my brother's happier than he's ever been, more successful he's ever been, all of that, and none of it would have happened if he wasn't willing to have a look at what the future could have been. And my question is, from where you stand, what does your someday look like? And would you be willing to take time to use the gift of imagination that God has given you and see what the picture of greater harmony in your family, greater success, greater financial abundance, greater physical health and wholeness, whatever it is, you have that power. And that will make your life easier. And that will make your life brighter by investing time and energy in creating and opening yourself to something even more amazing. One of the things I really love is the song, strangely and interestingly, ends with the words, right now. Right now. Here's an interesting thing. At a study at UCLA in their brain behavior and pharmacology lab, what they found was they tested people who had major depression, and what they did was they told them, we have got some incredible antidepressants that are going to change your life. And interestingly, just telling them that in the moment literally changed their physiology and their mentality and their outlook immediately. They did brainwave studies on them, and just hearing that there was hope literally changed their outlook. Not only changed their outlook before the medication, but when they took the medication, those who had hope and were excited, the medication worked even better on them. And the point that I'm trying to make is that when you know that there is hope, it changes you now. It isn't just about, hope isn't just about the future. When you know there's hope, it helps you find joy now, helps you feel more alive right now. And I just think that is so powerful, is because the fact is life is now. Love is now. Success is now. All things are possible right now. You know, life is good now. That there's so much to be thankful for right now. You know, I love what happiness is now. I love what Abraham Lincoln said. He said, most people are as happy as they make up their minds to be. So my question is, how happy are you making up your mind to be right now? How much are you willing to live and feel the fullness of life right now? How much are you willing to let go right now? How much are you willing to forgive right now? How much are you willing to stand in the fullness of who you came here to be right now? You can choose to be as happy as you want right now. And the last thing I want to say about the right now is that every one of us has the power right now to help somebody who's going through a difficult time, to reassure them that everything's going to be okay. I saw my mom in the thing. I wasn't going to mention this, but it just triggered it, is that on July the 1st, 1983, I was paralyzed in a car accident. It was about an hour and a half away from where my home was, and it was the most terrifying day of my life. In that stretcher, in pain, not knowing what things were. I knew things weren't good, and being so alone in that ambulance for that whole long ride. When we got to Hamilton at the emergency area of this hospital, and the doors opened, and they took me out of the stretcher, there was my mom. And she looked at me with a look of concern, but a look of love. And she came over and she kissed me on the cheek, and she said, everything's going to be okay. And just those reassuring words, and I didn't know they were going to be okay, but just those words alone, in that now moment, made me feel secure. Nothing greater than your mama telling you, everything's going to be okay, right now. And the fact is, every one of us has that power that you can reassure someone and say, it's going to be okay. Hang in there. I mean, just like the words, ooh, child, things are going to get easier. Things are going to get brighter. Every one of us has the power to bring relief and support and encouragement to someone right now. So who is that in your life, and will you be willing to be the one to help them now? The fact is, folks, life is tough. It's not easy. There are heartbreaks and losses and difficulties. But the one thing we need to remember is do not let any difficulty or any appearance or challenge rob you from your joy. Don't let it rob you from the life you're here to live. And don't let it disconnect you from that spirit of joy, of hope that lives in you. That there are greater things if you're willing to make your mind a little lighter and quiet it and set those things aside. If you're willing to look at someday and see the greater possibilities for your life, and if you are willing to connect with your hope and realize that life is good right now. Hope is in you. Use it fully. It'll make your life easier and brighter right now. God bless you all. I know that one of our first-time guests is going to go home and they're going to say, I went to this church and this rock concert broke out. So anyway, one more time for Kirsten and the fabulous band, Mark, Mike, Scott, and Craig Baumler, the man. Woo! Woo! All right. So I told you 70 kids have been here from California, Arizona, all over our region, and they have done an amazing job at the Winter Rally, and they're coming in. So let's sing them in with We Are Walking in the Light. They're going to do a blessing for us, too. Come on in, guys.
We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God. We are walking in the joy, in the joy, in the joy. We are walking in the joy of God. In the joy, 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 in the blood of God. We are walking in the love, in the love, in the love. We are walking in the love of God. In the love, in the light, in the love, in the love. We are walking in the love of God.
All right. Amen. We welcome our YOUers and Reverend Tina.
Well, we have had just a remarkable weekend. We've got teens here from California, Nevada, and of course Arizona, and we're just so happy to have everybody here. And we're going to turn it over to Jeremy and Haley.
So this is our YOU group, which is high school, and this is our regional event. So we have everyone as far as Santa Barbara to Las Vegas and all over Arizona here gathering with us for this weekend. Our theme for this weekend was many paths. No, it's not. That was finding your path. Sorry. Finding your path, and that sort of ties in because this is our last regional group with our YOU for the year, so we also honor our graduates. So we talked a lot about what it is we want in our lives and how to get there and what spiritual tools we can use to help us.
All right, cool.
And so we just want to take a second, and I think I speak for everybody here, and thank the congregation for all of your guys' help. A lot of you were host homes for this event. Different groups throughout the church helped with our meals throughout the weekend. So everything that went on this weekend and all the learning and nourishment that we received could not have been possible without all of you. And so we'd just like to thank everybody. And then we also have a little poster for Reverend Richard.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Him on his 10 years
Thank
of
you.
service.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, guys.
And so now we're going to lead a blessing. We'd like to bless the whole congregation.
All right. Here we go. We get the hot-handed one. I love that. The warm-handed blessing. All right.
Unity of Phoenix. We love you, we bless you, and we truly appreciate you. And we behold the Christ you are.
Amen. Thank you. All right.
I would just like to share too, after last night's graduation, I was just so impressed with all the graduating seniors and from throughout this region. And I shared with a few of them. I saw at least 6 to 8 Unity ministers coming out of this bunch.
Wow.
And so I really appreciate you all, and I respect you all from a deep spiritual level. I just know that you know the truth, and so I'm so grateful you're going out into the world to share the truth that you have learned, and I feel so honored and privileged to be in your midst this weekend. So
Great work, guys. Thank you so much for being here. You guys put on a great show. Really good stuff. All right. Why don't you guys help lead us in our prayer of protection? Will you guys do that for us? All right, let's do it together. No. Thank you, guys. Amen. And let's all rise now. Let's all rise now when we sing our song of peace. Oh, I'm sorry. We got.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
God bless everybody. Have a great day and a wonderful week. See you outside.